Hi guys, and welcome to Reality with T. Oh, let me get my tea. Welcome to Reality with T. Thank you guys for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about marriage boot camp. There's so many, they all start with marriage. Marriage boot camp, last week's and this week's episode. Okay, I'm just thinking, this is just off the top of my head. So if I missed something, I'm sorry. I might miss the details, but I just want to give you a quick overview. So last week we saw Corrupt come back to the house. He was sent away from the house that night because he was causing such a ruckus. He came back to the house, and we finally see Dr. Ish say to him, listen, you can't come back in the house. You have the option to go to rehab, and I will, supply, transportation for you to go straight from here to rehab to get some help for the drinking, or you have to leave. And he said, thank you, but I'm gonna go. So, which is what we knew, because he doesn't think that he has a problem. So I think that this should have been said to him when he first stepped in the house, when he came as drunk as he was, and we saw the situation he was in. He needs to be in rehab. So he left. And so then you see Judge Lynn Toller go up to Tony, who was sitting there with her bags packed. I don't know if I feel like we missed something, but somehow, her and Dr. Ish said, listen, I think we have to ask Tony to leave because we're not helping her and she has no insight. And so she goes up to Tony and says, listen, and so when she walks in, Tony says, I'm just ready to leave. And then she says, okay, well, we're going to ask, it's time for you to go. And she said it to me so abruptly and harshly. I was confused that, Vado is out the house. He's at a hotel because of the situation with him and Tahiri. But then Tahiri was, she stayed. So it was just interesting that they didn't even offer to still work with Tony or to give her an option. But, so she ended up leaving. She said she's going to Las Vegas to see her kids. So that's why I think I missed something, because I'm like, okay, how old are her kids? They're in Vegas. Where does she live? I don't know what's happening. Okay. So either way, they both left. So then they do a project where they have, I think they all had like little fake cars, and they had to decorate it with decals that somehow symbolizes different traumas from their childhood. So just the ones that I'm thinking about that stood out to me. You have Medina, who talked about him growing up. He had his mom suffered from schizophrenia. And, just with that, it was a lot. But the biggest turning point was, I believe, he was in a mall with his little brother, and she tried to sell his brother. And he said that was like one of the most traumatic things that happened to him. And it seems that the way that affects his relationship now is that he's kind of like takes care of, he's a giver. He's kind of, it seems like, it's kind of like he can just kind of go with the flow. He kind of smiles his way through things because he's been through so much. And I kind of feel like that's what happened. That's what happens with a lot of folks who might grow up with a parent with a mental illness. I kind of see those same type of qualities. So then you have Phaedra, who said growing up, she was darker skinned, and she was taught, since you're not as light skinned, so I guess some of her grandparents or parents could pass for white. Because you're darker skinned, you need to be perfect. You need to be prim, proper, perfect. And a lot of Black people grow up that way, that you are not close to white in skin color, but you have to be close to white in other ways, meaning that you have to use proper etiquette, proper diction, proper everything. Go get extra, extra degrees. She's a lawyer. You have to be more than in order to be able to level with them. Then you have Tahiri, who I believe she says her father was a drug dealer, I think. And I think that there was at one point, they stuck up everybody in her home. She was about 6 years old. There might have been a shooting. I know she said she was like, I guess, hiding. And I'm trying to think, it was something very chaotic. It made me feel like chaos. That's why chaos is a baseline in her life, and she's kind of used to it. So even what we would think is of something that is kind of outrageous, to her that's kind of normal. And she just became used to it because of the way she grew up. Then you have what's the boy's name, Devon, who said growing up he pretty much had a great childhood. He was given everything he wanted, and if he didn't get what he wanted, he just threw a tantrum and they gave him what he wanted. So now we see that's where his behavior comes from. Number one, he's with Hazel. She's 15 years older than him. She's like a mother figure to him. She's doing what? Taking care of him, giving him everything he wants. When he doesn't get what he wants, he is aggressive, he acts out, and then guess what? People give in to him. So that's what he's used to. So he's kind of in this world like, give me what I want. And Hazel says, I've worked to get to where I am. You need to understand, people, even though I'm giving you everything, you don't appreciate that people's blood, sweat, and tears have gone into what you're given. So you need to be, you need to kind of humble yourself and be grateful for what you're given. Then you have, I don't remember what Hazel's trauma was. Um, Willie, I think it has something to do with his grandfather. His grandfather raised him, or wait, his grandfather was very influential in his life, and grandfathers are amazing. And I think he lost his grandfather, so that was a big thing for him. Shonda dating her father in a way that she always wanted to please or impress her father, and I believe that's what happened. And I think that she just wanted his approval type of thing. Is she good enough? And so she feels the same way about Willie, because every time he cheats, he makes her feel like she's not good enough. So that's what I'm thinking about off the top of my head. So then they have this activity where they all come together and they have the childhood version of themselves. These cute little kids come and talk to them, say back to them what they said, like basically reenact what they had to deal with as a child. And it was emotional for some of them, and then the kid would go give them a hug, and it was really sweet. So it made them kind of face what was going on in their childhood. At the end, Vado then apologized to Tahiri and the rest of the cast, and I don't know how I felt about it, because it felt like it was they did force him to do it. And then of course he has to be shipped off to the hotel because they don't want any liabilities. But I kind of thought also that could have been, I guess they're trying to do for safety reasons, or maybe it could have been a one-on-one situation, and then he just do like a public apology to the rest of the cast. But I don't know. So last night we see them. They're basically all going in to take lie detector tests, and they all have to come up with a question. So they came up with a question, and then Dr. Ish and the judge kind of tweaked it so that it was, basically it could be compatible with an actual lie detector test, a yes or no question. I'm still confused about the judge and why I don't get her, why she's on the show. It's just weird. Like, I get that she's like boom, 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 but is this show supposed to be, I know it's a boot camp, maybe because it's a boot camp. I also try to see it as like something more therapeutic and more like a retreat type of a thing, but I guess not. I guess it isn't, because they always have liquor in the house. Either way, they all come up with a question. I won't go into all those questions. We'll do that next week, because they weren't able to get the answers. So she says, I'm gonna tell you guys tomorrow. So whatever, we'll just do that at one time next week. So then they all go out to the club, and the men go out. So now it's 3 men. Vado doesn't get to go to the club. And then you have all the women together. So, everybody's dressed up. They're looking nice. They're excited. They supposedly have a hall pass. Now, the way Willie is talking about this hall pass, it's like, we have a pass. I'm single for the night. I'm going to do my thing. And I'm like, this isn't like a real hall pass. You are the only one that's married. You need to simmer down, right? Devon is saying, I don't want to go anywhere without my girl. My girl's not with me, this whole thing. And so, and then Medina's just ready for a good time. The girls go out, and they're just like, oh, they're gonna be dancing this whole thing. They don't really have too many plans, whatever, but they want to have a good time. So they go out, the girls are doing their thing, whatever. You see the men over in their club, and Willie is pretty much, he's entertaining girls. I don't know that he's flirting, but girls are coming up to him to talk, and he's entertaining them. Medina's, kind of entertaining a little bit, talking a little bit, whatever. But everybody's kind of looking at Willie like, yo, you're going a little bit too far. Shonda's going to kill you. And then Devon is the one who is literally like, get out of here, get out of our space, leave us alone. I'm trying to figure out, is this for the cameras? Because, the cameras are there, or is he really like that? It's just kind of weird. Or is he just like more mature than the others? Or does he not trust himself? But he just kept talking about, because my girl ain't here, I'm not gonna have fun, my girl isn't here. To me, he kept saying it so much, it was almost obsessive. I'm like, okay. But while Devon is chasing away the chicks and cursing them out, and getting everybody else protected from the girls, he's also getting drunk as hell. So I guess brown liquor's allowed back in the house. Luckily, Corrupt is out of the house, right? So he's drinking, and you see them on the way back in the limo, and Devon threw up on himself. It's disgusting. He gets back to the house. He's passing out on a bed. He's, the whole thing. So they send over the medic. The medic is looking at him, and so then the women come in, and then you see Hazel come in, and she's like, what's going on? What happened to you? And somehow there's blood on his pants. Wait, was somebody dance when you and had the period? What happened? She's confused. What happened? And she's going off. And then, at some point she tells the lady, get out, the medic, which I don't really, like, I'm not really nasty and mean to people who are helping you, because they're helping you. So what if you need this person? But whatever, the girl gets out, and I guess she's kind of like trying to question him, and then that's where we see the end of it. But he was very drunk. But he was on his best behavior, he did better than the rest of them. So the girls, I think they didn't show too much of them. They just had a good time, dancing with each other, the whole thing. nobody did anything crazy, you know what I mean? Like, this wasn't a real hall pass, but they had a good time. So we're gonna see next week what happened with Hazel and Devon, and then what happened, you know, what's going on with him, and then how they all respond to them going out. And then next week is the season finale, so you know, we'll see how that goes. So if anything, like, comment, subscribe, leave me some comment suggestions, and thank you for watching Reality with T.